Podcast Show.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Myers, and welcome to the Rich Myers Podcast Show. I'm here today with Lone Thought Nothings. Um, how you been?
I've been doing well, Rich. How about yourself?
I'm still at it.
I get you. Likewise.
Okay.
Hey,
I listened to your track, Atmosphere.
thank you.
It was pretty good. It was like 5 minutes long.
It was a longer one. Yeah, I tried to trim it down a little bit. That version 4.5 gets pretty long-winded in some things, and it can be kind of a blessing and a curse because it can create some really cool stuff, but it also gets pretty lengthy. One of the nice features with that, though, as sad as it was, believe it or not, it was probably actually longer than that. So one thing you can do with the Suno is you can actually adjust the speed, and specifically you can adjust the speed with a feature that allows you to keep the pitch and the tone, so it doesn't sound like a chipmunk singing it. Then, so it's you can actually adjust the speed of the track then too. So that can sometimes save the ones that get a little bit too heavily long as far as it goes, because a lot of times you try to extend. Hey, I want to add this verse, but then it'll also add this verse and this solo and this riff and all these different things, and that it can create a really neat features or kind of some kind of unique we want for like aspects of the song that you weren't trying to put in there before. But it can also complicate things a bit more too. But I'm shooting for stuff 5 minutes at most. There's a couple things I'm still in progress on that are unfortunately exceeding 6. But they're still they're still more of a project. So that's where when I made those lyric videos, I think that's where a lot of that's going to make it a little more of an enjoyable experience, where there's more of just it's more than a static image. There's some video and some stock footage and stuff to accompany what the storytelling would be, so to say.
Okay. Well, let's take a listen to it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Something's different in the air tonight. Can't explain it, but I know we're far from alright. The way you look at me has suddenly changed, and every breath I make now feels so strange. Surroundings corrupted with what we never dared to say. My protection above now assaults with SOS. like a satellite. I surrounded you every day of the year and every night too. Gravitational pull held us near, but with no support or repairs of my own. My world no longer felt like my home. No longer my world. No longer my home. This is where we explore. This expanse alone. This is where we go alone.
That was a pretty good song.
Sorry about that. Muted myself there for a minute. Well, thank you. It was a fun one to make. It was kind of a lot that went into that one, but as far as kind of the whole start of it was just a couple little jingles that kind of stuck in my head. The kind of the origin behind it was I remember my wife and I were on our way home from a trip one time, and we just got away for the weekend, and I'm just looking up at the sky and I'm thinking, like, you know, blue sky, the atmosphere, whatever, like that's all that's keeping us alive. It's that thin layer that's protecting us all from basically cooking. And it was a situation where, like, comparing the safe atmosphere, what it brings, or what creates a stable and safe environment, and then I kind of compared it to what happens when that environment becomes toxic, and comparing it to almost like a safe and stable relationship to one that's a volatile, toxic. The parties are, at each other's throats over whatever, and a situation when that relationship or that connection becomes one that is a volatile or a toxic connection, it's the kind of theme is, you have to break away from it. So some of the lines in there I thought were especially interesting, where I was able to kind of incorporate a lot of solar space exploration elements to it, with themes in like a toxic or a volatile relationship. And while you just heard the song, I did actually make a lyric video accompanying that, and I tried to incorporate a lot of space exploration themes like that. I have one that I thought was actually I had to do a little bit of research on, because I wasn't certain what I was looking at. And in the video, there's a part where it's basically like a reverse explosion, and it's two stars that are colliding. And what that is actually they call it a solar collision, where the one of three things are going to take place. It's they're going to collide, and they're going to combine into essentially a supermassive star. They'll combine and they'll implode, creating a black hole, or they'll come close enough and then separate, and the two stars are like basically 2 points of light that are separated from one another. And the symbolism behind that image is that they're far enough apart, the gravitational pulls are actually pushing each other apart, and they'll never come together again. So I thought some of those were really interesting to play around with, to make it work as not just imagery in the video of just stars and exploration and things of that nature. There's a lot that has like some deeper meaning when you dig into it. So I had a lot of fun with creating that element with it.
Okay. Are you working on anything? New songs now, or what's next?
Several actually. So Atmosphere was the most recent one I put out. I've got a few other ones that are kind of some similar kind of explored themes. I got one called Natural Disaster, kind of a tumultuous relationship of, it kind of expands on one that the natural disaster is comparing it to basically almost like a one night stand sort of situation that went beyond that, and the couple tried to essentially establish a base, or a foundation of love and respect, understanding off of that, thinking they can make things work, but ultimately it just kind of blows up in their face. It's kind of the whole theme on that one, which it's kind of funny. I keep thinking about these sort of things, because it's like, I talked to my wife about it the other day. I was like, we're in a happy relationship. It's kind of interesting to me that, like, I can, put myself in these situations. It's almost like I'm kind of writing or comparing it to like a fear I have, where for a long time, I was only able to write about personal experiences or things that I have personally experienced or, have gone through. And while that can still be a large element to it, I find it more of almost a challenge to myself where I'm trying to put myself in someone else's shoes or someone on the outside looking in, something that could be relatable to others and not necessarily purely myself. And I'm hoping I might garner a little bit more of a following or like a wider audience than just simply writing about what I've experienced. I'm going to tell what other people have experienced, other people can relate to. And so I'm having a lot of fun with that, where it's both a challenge, but also it's what's the word I'm using for it? It's more interesting than anything. It's something that I'm hoping it's not going to sound like generic or something mainstream, because I'm not trying to do something that's been done before, I would like to think.
Okay.
Other ones, as far as it goes, oh, go ahead.
Where can people go and see your videos, music and events? Well,
Sure. So the artist name Lone Thought Nothings. If you just search that on YouTube, I've got a Spotify, Amazon, Deezer. I think you can find me on Pandora. A lot of different streaming platforms. Thankfully, I guess I kind of have a little bit of an algorithmic benefit where if you just type Lone Thought, I've seen myself pop up several times, and I've had a few family and friends and some coworkers that when I'm telling them about the work I make, and they try and search me up and they find me pretty easily. Recently hit my 50th subscriber on YouTube, so I know it's a very small number to most situations, but hey, it's a milestone regardless, and I'm gonna celebrate it. Um, while we're on this chat as well, there's a few things I'd like to kind of almost some shout outs, so to say. There's the Discord I'm a part of, Tombstone Lounge is what it's called, and it's basically a collection of other AI AI artists, I should say, creators and things of that nature. And there's a couple of members, Garnet Soul and Valdrin. If either one of you are watching right now, a little shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to mention you in the chat. We have it's essentially there's live streams where they do Twitch streams, and you can submit songs and you get ratings and feedback, and it's just a really nice welcoming community where it's all built on welcoming and positivity. If you're coming in there with what you're willing to share, you got your heart on your heart's worn bare, and you're kind of exposed. But if you're willing to share that with everybody, it's a really nice experience where others can provide you feedback, whether positive or negative. It's sometimes what's needed. I've had a few of mine that were like, so not so great, and I've had a couple that were like, they loved them, and it's really cool when you get that reinforcement that things are going well in a sense. Anybody else who might be watching as well? I know we have just scrolling through the chats right now. Hermione, Black Bunny, anybody else who might be a part of it, thank you. And if you're interested, might reach out to Rich, see if you might be able to get some of your content on his channel as well.
Well, thanks for being on the show tonight. I really enjoyed having you.
I appreciate it, Rich. As always, it was fun to get some exposure on the music and love providing some background to it. For anybody who is interested, I would recommend to check out the lyric video, as it does accompany the song, and I think really provides a lot of background detail to better highlight it.